He beat me in the Worlds in 2015, which would have been 4 years previous, and he schooled me in 2015. Like, it wasn't even close. He just danced around me and picked points. And then in this fight, I was winning literally in the last 10 seconds, and he scored a point on me, so it brought it to a draw. So we took it to extra time. And then it was back and forward for the extra time, and again he just nicked it at the end. So it was mixed emotions. It was obviously a big improvement from the 4 years previous, but also I was gutted, that I didn't win, and it was right there as well. And also a lot of pain because I actually I tore my labrum in that fight, in the first round. Very, very early on in the first round, and I quite like using my hands quite a lot, and my shoulder was pretty gubbed.
Ow.
Yeah, ow.
So what fueled you on then for the rest of that fight then, if you're knowing you're literally falling apart?
I've got a brilliant coach. It was... I remember it happening, and I heard the tear. That was when I was like, "Oh Jesus, that wasn't good." And I didn't know what had happened. I just knew something had happened, and it happened as he came in for a punch. Was it I came in for a punch? One of us went in for a punch, and the other blocked. And as it blocked, it kind of went like that, and I heard the tear. And my head guard came up as well, and I thought my shoulder had dislocated at first. So I went to my coach to fix my head guard, and he's like, and he's doing all that, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I think my shoulder came out." And he's like, "Oh well, it's back in now. Off you go." And just didn't really give me any. He didn't baby me. He just kind of went, "You've got a job to do. Let's go." And it was just that constant kind of. Every now and then during the fight, he would look at me and he's going like, "It's there. We've got it. Just keep going." That just knowing what to say and when to say it, and seeing the scores, being so close and being ahead, then going behind and then bringing it back and then going to a draw. Once you get into this kind of flow, this momentum, I think it definitely helped keep things going, because I eventually forgot about the pain until just after, because things were. It was quite a touch and go fight. Yeah.
When the pain hit, was it literally like a sudden rush, and then
when it first happened?
No, after the fight.
After
the adrenaline dropped.
After the adrenaline dropped, basically, we shook hands, went and spoke to the coach, and blah blah blah, and just having a wee blather afterwards. And I went to put my trachea on, and as I went like that to throw it over my shoulders, I just felt this shooting all the way through my shoulder, my pec and up my neck. And I was like, oh yeah, that happened. And we were meant to have a team event after, so it was meant to be a Great Britain team against a Spanish team and against a Greek team. But this was now getting up to like 10:30, so they just ended up cancelling it. But I thought it was still going ahead at this point, so I was like, oh God, I need to go through all this again with a buggered shoulder.
The tournament days are so long.
That one was a wee bit longer. Usually it was a nationals, and the way the Spanish do their nationals, especially when they're doing their selection, is they'll run two divisions, two ladders per division. So you've got the nationals, and you've got the ones that want to compete in the Spanish team. Okay. So say like my category was -85, so they'll have -85 for the nationals, which I would have fought in, but they'll also have -85 to qualify for the team.
Oh, yeah.
Which I have fought in before. I've been to Spain quite a few times, and I've fought in their qualification tournament, just because they were like, "Oh, we've got a space. Do you want to jump in?" And I was like, "Yeah." So technically, I qualified for the Spanish team a few years.
It was a shame you're not Spanish.
They were well up for giving me a space, but it would have caused a bit of an issue.
What does that take? 5 years living there and get citizenship?
No, it's not as. I think if you were going, if you're talking professional sports, but like say if I was living there even for a year, I could, and I was training there, competing there, I could just go for the national team.
Ah, it's not too bad then.
Out, go. Sorry, my dog.
No, that's all right.
Aye, so sorry, I think somebody's. It's always when you start doing something, things. Right, okay, that's fine. Sorry. It's basically like I've got a Ring doorbell and I'm waiting on a delivery for my friend's 50th birthday, and I don't want to miss it because it's tomorrow. But sorry. So basically, like you'll see that quite a lot because quite often uni students will compete in a country that isn't their own. You know, there's been quite a few Bulgarians that have fought in the England team before when we were meant to go to this Euros here. There was a Bulgarian boy who was on the Scotland team before it got cancelled. So you see that quite a lot. So say like if I wanted to, I could have, and I was considering it because we had a lot of stuff going on in Scotland at the time. So I was like kind of, but then I realised it would have caused too much trouble, so I didn't even bother pursuing it.
When you're competing, do you feel angry when you're competing?
Angry, no. I've had points where I've like I've maybe got a little bit frustrated, maybe because I mean whether we like it or not, and we talk about the tenets and all that, there's always going to be bias, you know, when you know at one point or another, and I think I got used to it quite early on. So you just kind of, it got to the point where I just kind of would go, oh well, you know. My first ever tournament, I got angry. I did. I remember because I got kicked really hard in the nuts twice, and the second time I remember being like visibly raging, like going, oh, you know, all that, and then ended up winning that fight, and then I lost in the semis. That was my first tournament. That's the only time I can actually remember getting angry. Frustrated with like maybe bad umpiring or, you know, someone being unsportsmanlike, and you know, just I don't think I've ever got really angry.
To be honest, I don't blame you. Two kicking nuts, and that would make me angry too.
Yeah, and I think the adrenaline of it being my first tournament and like my teammates watching and things like that, and that's the only time I can really think of getting angry. Like I've been totally robbed before, like completely, like outright robbed, and I've been like, oh well, that's the way it is. One of them was at the Chang'an Cup. Actually, do you remember the Chang'an Cup?
So I know about it, but I've not competed in it.
All right, one of them was at the Chang'an Cup, and I just remember laughing and being like, oh, whatever. That's what it is.
Yeah, without naming names and anything like that, and the refereeing is quite biased regardless.
You can name names if you want, I don't mind.
To be honest, I don't know half their names. I can just point them out in my face.
Yeah. No, it was funny. I was fighting a Dutch guy in the final, and I think there was three corner judges, and I knew one of them, and I know who the other two are as well, but I know one of them personally. And I remember they put the Dutch boy's hand up, and I'm my own worst critic. I won a medal at the Euros, and I was like, shite, rubbish. That was terrible. You know, I've won tournaments, and I'm like, I need to do this, I need to do that. I was so sure I'd won this, and I was like, no question. And they put his hand up, and I was like, okay. And even the Dutch referee, the Dutch centre ref was like, I don't know how he won that. And you just need to kind of go, you know, that's what it is.
But it shouldn't be happening, really.
It shouldn't, but it does. And you know, I've been places before, you know, where like referees, you'd be doing like this with patterns, for example. Referees would maybe have a chat before they give a decision, and then the decision all goes the other way, and you're like, okay.
See, patterns I think is slightly different because if these are both identical, it then just is a popularity contest.
Aye, which you know, it comes down to kind of what style you like watching even more. But at the end of the day, it's like